Do you think your choices are really yours? That song you love, the way you dress, how you speak, even the dreams you have about the future? What if I told you none of that came from you? What if this entire personality you call yours was just a program running on autopilot? Take a deep breath, because what you're about to discover in the next few minutes might dismantle everything you thought you knew about yourself. Pierre Bourdieu, the French sociologist who revolutionized our understanding of society, discovered something disturbing. We are not who we think we are. We are products. Products of an invisible system so sophisticated that it makes us believe we're in control, when we're actually just repeating patterns we don't even realize exist. He called this habitus. And when you understand how it works, you'll never look at yourself the same way again. Are you ready to discover who's really in command of your life? Then stay with me until the end, because this journey will show you not just who you are, but who you can become. And if this resonates, don't forget to hit that like button, because awakening is a collective act, and maybe others need to hear this too. The mirror you're about to see might be uncomfortable, but it's the only path to freedom. You've been told a beautiful lie your entire life, that you are unique. From the moment you could walk, society whispered in your ear that you're special, that your tastes are yours, that your opinions come from deep personal reflection. You choose your friends, your career, your lifestyle. You're the author of your own story, right? Wrong. Look around you right now. Look at your clothes, your phone, the way you've arranged your space. Look at your social media feed, the shows you binge watch, even the way you hold your coffee cup. You think these are personal choices, expressions of your authentic self. But here's what Bourdieu discovered in his groundbreaking work, Distinction. Every single one of these choices follows a pattern so precise, so predictable, that sociologists can look at your zip code, your parents' education level, and your family income, and tell you with frightening accuracy what music you'll like, what books you'll read, what career you'll pursue. You're not choosing. You're being chosen by invisible forces that have been shaping you since before you could speak. Think about your friend group. Notice how similar you all are. Same economic background, same educational level, same cultural references. Coincidence? No, it's your habitus recognizing itself in others. The myth of individual choice is capitalism's greatest marketing campaign. It makes you feel empowered while keeping you perfectly predictable. You think you're rebelling when you buy vintage clothes, but so does everyone else in your demographic. You think you're being authentic when you choose organic food, but it's just your class position expressing itself through consumption. The system doesn't need to control you directly. It controls you by convincing you that you're free. Imagine you're an actor who's been on stage so long. You've forgotten you're performing. The lights, the audience, the script, it all feels natural now. You deliver your lines with passion, believing. Every word comes from your heart. But step back for a moment. Look at the theater. This is your habitus, the invisible stage where you perform your life. Bourdieu showed us that we're all trapped in what he called fields, invisible arenas where we compete without realizing we're playing a game. The field of education, where you learn to speak properly. The field of culture, where you developed your taste. The field of work, where you perform your professional identity. Each field has its own rules, its own currency, its own way of determining who wins and who loses. And your habitus, it's your internalized player's manual, the unconscious knowledge of how to navigate these fields without thinking about it. But here's the prison. You can't see the bars because they're made of habit. Watch yourself tomorrow morning. Notice how you automatically adjust your voice when talking to your boss versus your friends. How you instinctively know which fork to use at a fancy restaurant, or how to dress for a job interview. This isn't natural intelligence. It's your habitus performing class position. You think you're adapting, but you're actually reproducing. Every natural behavior you exhibit is maintaining the exact social order that may be limiting you. The most effective prisons are the ones where prisoners don't know they're imprisoned. They just think this is how life is supposed to be. Your habitus whispers, "This is just who I am." But Bourdieu screams back, "This is who they made you become." Pierre Bourdieu didn't just study society, he X-rayed it. Born into a working-class family in rural France, Bourdieu experienced firsthand the violence of social reproduction. He watched brilliant classmates drop out not because they weren't smart enough, but because the educational system spoke a language their families had never taught them. In his masterwork, Reproduction in Education, Society and Culture, Bourdieu revealed education's darkest secret. Schools don't create equal opportunity. They legitimize inequality by making it look natural. But his most devastating insight came with the concept of habitus itself. In the logic of practice, he showed us that we don't just learn social rules, we embody them. Your posture, your accent, your sense of humor, even your dreams. They're all inscribed in your body like a social tattoo you can't see. Habitus is your social GPS, constantly recalculating your position in the world based on invisible coordinates of class, education, and cultural capital. It tells you what's for people like you and what isn't. It makes you feel comfortable in some spaces and completely out of place in others. Here's what makes this so sinister. Habitus feels like intuition. When you walk into a room and immediately sense you don't belong, that's not social anxiety. That's your habitus reading the field and protecting you from exposure. But Bourdieu discovered something else. Habitus can be disrupted. Every time someone from your background succeeds in a space where they don't belong, they create what he called a hysteresis effect. A lag between the field and the habitus. This is where transformation becomes possible. You are not doomed to reproduce your origins. But first, you must see the machine that's been programming you. The question isn't whether you have a habitus, everyone does. The question is, will you let it drive or will you take the wheel? Right now, something uncomfortable is happening. Inside you, you're starting to see the puppet strings. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. Every confident opinion you hold, every natural preference you have, every instinctive reaction, you're beginning to question whether it's really yours. This is the crisis Bourdieu knew would come. When you realize that your authentic self might be a sophisticated social construction, who are you really? Look at your Instagram feed right now. Really look at it. See how every post follows an unspoken aesthetic code that matches your social position. See how your spontaneous stories actually follow patterns that would make a sociologist weep with recognition. You're not performing for others. You're performing for the internalized audience your habitus created. But here's where it gets really uncomfortable. You can't just opt out. You can't wake up tomorrow and abandon your habitus like changing clothes. It's woven into your nervous system, your reflexes, your sense of what feels right. Try to change your accent. Try to genuinely enjoy music from a completely different class position. Try to feel naturally comfortable in spaces where your habitus screams danger. You'll feel the resistance. That's your social programming fighting to maintain itself. This is why Bourdieu called it symbolic violence. The most effective domination happens when the dominated participate in their own domination willingly, even eagerly. You've been collaborating with your own limitation, but recognizing this isn't defeat. It's the beginning of freedom. Because once you see the habitus operating, you can start to operate on it. You can't escape it completely, but you can dance with it differently. The person you were before this video and the person you are now, they're not the same. Something has shifted. Something has cracked open. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are not stupid. You are the product of the most sophisticated social machinery ever created. A system so elegant it convinced you that you created yourself. But here's what Pierre Bourdieu knew that the system hopes you never discover. Awareness is the first act of rebellion. Every time you pause before an automatic reaction and ask, is this really me, or is this my programming? You create a space of possibility. Every time you notice your habitus steering you away from something because it's not for people like me, you can choose to question that boundary. This doesn't mean you can simply think your way out of your social position. Habitus is embodied. It lives in your muscles, your emotions, your gut reactions. Change requires practice, not just insight. But you can begin to play with your programming instead of being played by it. Start small. Notice one automatic behavior today. Question 1. Inherited preference. Feel the discomfort of acting slightly outside your habitus and do it anyway. This is how transformation begins, not with revolution, but with tiny acts of conscious deviation. Bourdieu gave us the map to understand our prison. But only you can use that map to find new territories within yourself. If this has disturbed something in you, good. Disturbance is the price of awakening, and if you've made it this far, you're already different than you were 20 minutes ago. Share this discomfort. Someone in your world is still sleeping inside their habitus, thinking their cage is their authentic self. Maybe they need this same uncomfortable awakening, because once you see the machine, you can never be just a product again. You become something far more dangerous, conscious.